Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Jack Talks Bikes, and tonight we're taking a look at the brand new Triumph Trident 800. Not a day goes by at the minute, it feels like, where Triumph aren't in my news feed talking about releasing a new bike. If you didn't know, they are currently pushing to release 29 new motorcycles in a 6-month period to get them set for next spring, and you can find out more about that press release and information about that by clicking the pop-up banner at the top of the page where I discuss what these 29 bikes might look like. But in this video, we're taking a look at the hotly anticipated, straight off the press, Trident 800. And let's start by just pausing for a minute and taking a look at how beautiful this bike is. So look, I know beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but for me personally, I think this is a tremendous looking bike. It just kind of takes everything that I really loved about the Triumph Trident 660 and hardens it a bit. It makes it more mature, more grown up, and just much more aggressive and muscular. It's a bike that I think really does cut through that retro modern noise, and they've nailed it with this bike. I think it looks fan-bloody-tastic. Now, for me personally, I've always admired the Triumph Trident 660, but it's a bike that I've always felt is, I wouldn't say beneath me, because it's obviously a very fun and enjoyable bike, but it just didn't have the performance specs I personally was looking for in my first big bike. It was a little bit too young and youthful, whereas I felt for myself, I wanted something a bit more performance orientated, a bit more grown up, but not quite as hardcore and razor sharp as the Street Triple. I think that bike, again, fantastic bike, looks immense, but the insurance was too much for me. The ergonomics and stuff of that bike were just a bit too aggressive for what I was looking for. So that's how I ended up kind of settling on the Monster, the bike that I got, because it kind of fills that gap of a premium brand bike, bit more performance, but not quite as hardcore as something like a Street Triple RS. This new 800 that Triumph have designed and built is meant to fill that gap from the Triumph brand. So if I hadn't already got this bike, I would be really interested in this particular model. Not only just because of the looks of it, but when we jump into the tech specs, I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job of building a bike that plugs that gap and separates the two. So we'll jump straight into it. We'll look at engineering and tech specs. I just want to start from the very top, where Triumph are really stressing that this Trident 800 isn't just simply an engine swapped 660. It's getting a whole range of upgrades. So it's getting a revised chassis layout. It's getting new intakes and a new exhaust, as well as upgraded suspension. And it's not just a minor upgrade on the suspension. This is a huge step up in the suspension specs. We now get 41mm Showa big piston separate function front forks, which are both fully adjustable, preload and rebound, as well as a fully adjustable monoshock on the rear. So that's a proper step up from the 660's kind of fixed position shocks and suspension. We're also getting new Triumph branded radial 4-pot calipers on the front, and a single piston caliper on the rear. So again, that's a step up in the stopping power. It's not quite the same level as the Brembo stuff you will find on the Street Triples, but again, that's because this bike is taking a step down from the Street Triples, but it's taking a step up from the 660. So it's giving you more stopping power, a much more suitable braking setup for the bike with this kind of performance and power, but it's not going to the hardcore edges of giving you the Brembos that you probably will need if you're doing track days and stuff, which you might be considering if you're buying a Street Triple. When it comes to seat height, it's slightly higher than the 660 by 5mm. It's now 810mm tall, and the wet weight, fully fueled, is 196 kilograms, which is 7 kilograms heavier than the 660. But I think you'll agree, under 200 kilograms, it is not a heavy bike by any stretch of the imagination. Talking of fuel, you're getting a 14-litre fuel tank, which is the same size as the 660. So that's kind of indicating to you that if you want to do touring, you want to go long country riding, cross-country sort of stuff with a pillion, you're probably going to be looking at the Tiger Sport 800s because they've got a much bigger tank, whereas this 14-litre tank is the same one you find on the 660, and with this new engine, you're probably going to be stopping to do refueling quite regularly. So it's really aimed at people that want to do weekend warrior stuff, going out for a blast, having a good time on that Sunday, on that dry Sunday morning, bit of summer riding, and probably don't use it too regularly, or maybe just do short commutes. When it comes to the display and the rest of the tech, it uses that mixed LCD TFT combo that we've seen on various other bikes, but it now has Bluetooth with navigation, calls and music via the Triumph app. And you also get rider modes, which you didn't get on the 660. You've got road, sport and rain. The electronic suite is also upgraded with an IMU-based cornering ABS and traction control system, which, you know, we've become used to across the Triumph line. They are releasing this in all the Bonneville family. And if you didn't know, they have updated the whole Bonneville family. And you can click the pop-up banner at the top of the screen to go have a look at that news article and how I've kind of summarised all the news around that line of bikes. We also get bi-directional quick shifter up and down. This is a big one, by the way. So we also now get bi-directional quick shifter up and down, cruise control, self-cancelling indicators, and all of those options are completely standard on this bike. They're not paid extras. So when you buy this bike, that is the spec you get straight off the factory, which is brilliant when you compare it to some of the competition. Like if you just take a look at the Monster, the new Monster, the quick shifter and the cruise control are added extras. You have to pay additional on top of that for those functions. If you want to find out more about the Monster, by the way, the new 2026 Ducati Monster, again, another pop-up banner at the top of the screen, will take you to my summary of that bike's release from just the other week. So moving on to styling, as I've said, this bike I think is beautiful. It keeps that original Triumph silhouette with that nice round headlight, those wide sweeping bars, that really compact short tail, that number plate and that hugger over the rear wheel to kind of make the bike feel sporty, angular, modern, but with a retro flair. It'll come available on launch in 3 colours. You get ash grey with Diablo red details, which I'll put an example of on the screen. You also get that wonderful, vibrant carnival red, which is my personal favourite. And again, that's touched in with some graphite details in that one. And that is the way I would go. I think that bike just looks fantastic. And you can also get it in a fully blacked out jet black colour scheme. Gold wheels, belly pan and fly screen that you see on these bikes are all completely standard as well. They're not optional extras. This isn't an accessory list that you can add onto it. But if you are looking at accessories, you can get the bar end mirrors, the Akrapovic silencer, and a rear seat cowl for the bike as well, just to really spice it up a bit more. It's worth noting though, personally, with the Akrapovic silencer, whilst it does look fantastic and will keep the bike fully street legal, these are all Euro 5 Plus engines. And as we've come to know with these things, the sound of these bikes is muted significantly. So it might be worth investigating other aftermarket options rather than taking that particular option for this bike, in my personal opinion. Okay, so onto the engine specs and details about this bike's performance. So we're using the new 800cc engine that we've seen in the Tiger Sport. And this isn't a new engine as such. This is an engine that if you trace the lineage back and the architecture of this bike, it goes back to the original Daytona and Street Triple 675 lineage of that bike. So this bike has got some proven heritage and it's a proven platform. So we know that reliability should be tip-top with this engine. We're getting the power performance, exactly the same specs as the Tiger Sport 800, but we're told it's a different map bespoke to this bike. So we're getting the same 113 brake horsepower at 10,750 RPM, and we're also getting 62 pound-foot of torque, which equates to around 84 Newton meters at 8,500 RPM. So it's exactly the same headline figures as the Tiger Sport, but we're told it's going to perform and feel like a different bike because of the way it's mapped and tuned to this particular bike. So we'll have to wait to see how that is, because at the minute, well, no one's ridden one. They're not doing the showroom till March. And if this channel has grown by then, hopefully, Triumph, if you're watching, if this channel has reached a certain point with its subscribership, I might be able to get myself some seat time on one and actually do a rider's review. So for that to happen, I need you guys to subscribe and like this video, do all that good social media stuff at this point. If you like this kind of content, please do subscribe and help me grow this channel, because I've only been posting for 6 or so months and I'm really keen to see this channel grow so I can keep doing what I enjoy. Anyway, enough of that. Back to the specs. So to quote Triumph directly with this one, it's now got triple throttle bodies for maximum engagement. So Triumph are hinting here at a sporty response and sporty sound. So they must know that, as I mentioned a minute ago with that exhaust, that these Euro 5 engines don't make as much exhaust noise. They're being limited more and more from these laws and stuff to kind of keep noise levels down. So I think they're leaning more into the induction sound of this engine with what they're getting at here. So I'm looking forward to hearing how this bike actually sounds when you're sat on it and riding it. And hopefully it is giving you that engaging, raucous, kind of sporty, egging you on to really rip the throttle open. I'll be excited to see what the bike sounds like and actually feels like with that performance. Those performance figures, by the way, to give you some sort of quantity of what that might translate to if you're a new rider or not ridden much, those performance figures are nearly exactly the same as my Monster. So these factory spec are 110 brake horsepower and 86 pound-foot of torque. Mine's got the up map, because of the Termi exhaust, so it's around 112 brake horsepower and 86 pound-foot of torque. So compared to this bike, they are very, very similar. So again, you can see what Triumph are trying to do with this bike and the kind of area they're targeting this bike at. It's not an out-and-out sports bike. It's not something you want to rip around a racetrack. It could capably do it, but it's the sort of bike they're trying to aim for the street, aim for the country road blast, that Sunday morning ride, something that's going to be thrilling and exciting, but at the same time, not quite as hardcore or grueling to ride for a long day. When we look at price and competition, the price has been confirmed at £9,195 here in the UK. Its direct rivals, in my opinion, are things like the MT-09, which is priced at what, £10,200 new? Or the Kawasaki Z900, which is priced at around a similar price point. But neither of those bikes are coming with the same level of spec as standard that this new Triumph is. So this new Trident 800, when you look at things like the lean sensitive IMU, the what do you call it, cruise control, the up and down quick shifter as standard, the built-in satellite navigation if you're using the app, all that sort of stuff, all of that on a bike for under £10,000, Triumph have absolutely played a blinder with that price point. So in summary then, this new Trident 800 is set to kind of shake up the middleweight market a bit and offer some real kind of aggressively priced competition to the segment, because they're offering a ridiculous spec, and it is really doing a good job, on paper at least, of bridging that gap between the 660 and their more aggressive sports-orientated Street Triple line of bikes. Like I said, the Street Triple RS. It's aimed at riders wanting, in my opinion anyway, it's aimed at riders wanting more of a performance-based and tech-heavy 660 with a bit more speed and a bit more aggression, but they don't want the out-and-out razor-sharp edge that the Street Triples RS and R actually offer. So, that, like I say, on paper, they've done a fantastic job at the very least. I'm looking forward to seeing what this bike can actually offer, and hopefully, in the future, getting some seat time on one and seeing what it's like out on the road. I could even compare it, like I say, to my Monster. So if you've liked this video, anyway, that's enough for me waffling. Please, as I've mentioned, like and subscribe. Follow along. There'll be another video on the screen. I'll probably put a playlist on here of other news articles and stuff taken to my other news roundups that I try and do every single week, where you'll be able to find out more about these 29 bikes that Triumph are releasing. And if you've not already, like I say, please subscribe. Go over to Instagram, find me on there, follow me on Instagram, do all that good social media stuff. And I hope you all have a fantastic evening or whatever you're doing with the rest of the day. And I'll see you in the next one.